generals lean with a calculating stare. Tiny soldiers on a grand paper plane, rolling dice to echo cannons refrain. Kingdoms rise within this tabletop dust. In strategy and chaos we place our trust. The generals lean with a calculating stare. Hands of fate guide moves with a flare. Tiny hills climb where valleys fall steep. Battles fought while the house stays asleep. Wargaming dreams on a six-sided star. In this microcosm we travel so far. Heroes die small but their legends grow large. In this tiny world we're always in charge. Commanders in coats of bold hue patrol the terrain in colors so true. Armies clash with a flick of the wrist. Victory's a mark on a checklist kissed. Dice are the drums of this parade of might. The board is the map glowing soft through the night. Imagination ignites where the pieces collide. A universe unfolds we cannot hide. 100 battles fought in one single room. Victories blazing, entropy and gloom. Armies may fade, but spirits don't rest. In the heat of this game, we earners of trust.
Sorry, I was muted. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming miniature video. I've got basically two sets of miniatures that I want to work on a little bit today. I'm not going to finish them today, obviously, but I'm going to get both of them set up to be primed, and I probably will be able to prime them today. And then I'll work on them later. I went ahead and got some colors out for my Prussian commission right here. I did not get the colors out for my ACW commission because all I'm doing is putting these together and priming them. I'm actually going to work on these to get these completed. Right. So how's everybody doing? Oh, wait, we got a comment. We've got a chat. Let's see if it actually shows up. Hey, look at that. It shows up. Sean, what are you saying? You're saying everything's so blurry. How goes it? Did you convince the others involved your Pendragon game to stream? Yeah, yes, I am planning on streaming the Pendragon game this Thursday night. I do plan to stream the second half of the feast and maybe the winter phase. I'm not exactly sure how far past the winter phase we're going to get. I got a new player. He's going to be making his character tonight. I don't think I'm going to spend time streaming that. I think we're just going to work through some bugs, get him squared away. Um, but that's all we're going to be doing tonight is getting his character made. Unfortunately, he's going to miss out on being. Oh, right here. He's going to miss out on being a squire. I'm going to make him a newly knighted knight so that he's right on the same path as the other players. Okay, let me go ahead and get the bottoms of these guys filed off so they stand perfectly straight. It's almost like my hands are magnetized or something because, okay, that guy's leaning something fierce. Yeah, I might have to get a. Okay, that's better. Here we go. This is the first of many Prussians that I'll be doing for this customer. My understanding is he's got a whole army that needs to be done, and he's going to send them to me 2 battalions at a time. That's what I understand. Now, his battalions are only 2 bases of 8 figures a base. So there's 16 figures in each battalion, which I considered with my own set of rules, marshals and generals, I considered doing a 1 base battalion. You know, maybe put 12 figures, a lot of figures on a big square base. You know, like get a good 60 by 60 or something like that, and then just cram it full of miniatures and just call that a battalion. And then it would be very much like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Et Sans Resultants. ESR is a set of rules that it's a very strategic, large battlefield game, and in their concept, which I love, I adore it. It's that you as the army commander, you know, corps or above, let's say you're the army general, you're not going to concern yourself with what formation your individual battalions are in, right? You're not going to be, that's not something that should be on your mind. And I totally agree. I totally 100% agree with that. they do have a couple of different formations. I've never played the rules. I own them. I've even got a campaign module for them, but I've never played the rules, so I can't speak from experience. But I have read the rules, and I've actually watched a playthrough of the rules, so I kind of understand the idea of the mechanics of the game, in that there's really only two formations. You have deployed or undeployed, which they call it something else. They call it deployed and ployed, or something like that, right? And if you're deployed, then you're basically ready to fight, and you get all your combat modifiers and stuff like that. But if you are deployed or if you're just ployed, which is a weird term I've never used, but they use it. If you're ployed, that basically means you're in a formation that's not ready to fight, like maybe a march column, or your artillery is limbered, or something like that, right? And everything else is inconsequential. Everything else is handled by the die rolls and the modifiers. And believe me, I really consider doing something similar with my rules. It does make, okay, this guy doesn't want to stand up because he's got a super long flagpole that is causing him to lean over. But we'll figure it out once we get him glued to his base. Okay, this guy's standing. But I have buckled in that I think players like fiddling with formations and putting them in obvious combat formations like line or attack column or march column or limbered or unlimbered. And I think players enjoy having a little bit of control over their units, the micromanagement of their units. So I decided to cave to that psychology. And I gave my units multiple bases so that you can rearrange them into different formations. Now, I will have to say that it gives a little bit of a tactical feel to the game, because now it matters if you're in a square or if you're in a line. So the player has to think about if he's going to put his units in an attack column or a march column, or, and it'll have consequences in the game. So, and I think that if you're deploying battalions, in the game, and you're not deploying brigades or divisions. You're actually if each little maneuver element is a battalion, then the visuals become important. Because if I was playing a game where every stand represented a battalion, no, not a battalion. If I was playing a game where every stand represented a brigade or even a division or something even larger, then yeah, I could see that you don't need to put them into different formations. But when it comes to a battalion or smaller, I consider that to be kind of a tactical level game. And looking at the table, because this is one of the most important things, is looking at the table. Does it look right? Right? Does it look like it should? And yeah, you're going to see lines and you're going to see columns when you're zoomed in to battalion level. So I decided I was going to do a lot of bases, like they do with Warlord games, with like Black Powder, where a normal unit is like 6 bases, and a large unit might be 8 bases, and a small unit might be 4 bases. And I was thinking, oh, that's good, but I decided to merge the two concepts, basically. So I have less bases, but I also decided that I wasn't going to go with an odd number of bases like Land of the Free. Land of the Free goes with like an odd number of bases, and that's a decision because command and control ranges and spotting and stuff like that is done from the command base, and the game designer wanted the command base to be in the middle of a unit. So 3 bases would put the command stand in the middle. But I think, and since I'm not doing that, I'm not doing a range or spotting being done by a command stand. If I was to even consider doing anything like that, I would just say from the middle of the unit. Right? So if it's 4 bases, it's pretty easy to determine where that center line is. Because 2 bases, there's dividing line right there. And I decided to go with 4 bases because it's an even number, and even numbers work better in forming formations and stuff like that on the table. Um, okay, we got some chats going on. Take a look here. Got some pewter sawdust on my hands. Okay, again, I can't see squat. You know, I might try these glasses. Let's see if they help or hurt. This makes it even worse. I wish there was a way in OBS to increase the font size. There's no way for me to increase, unless it's a new setting. You know what? I'm going to go through the settings. But I don't think there is a way for me to increase the font size. It is so small. I got to lean in. Okay, that is just the wrong type of settings. I want... There's full screen. There's windowed. What is stats? That's not it. Tools. Help. Edit. Okay, that's preview scaling. That's not... Yeah, all these transforms are for the video preview, but that's not what I'm trying to adjust. Okay. I wonder if I do this, if that'll affect it at all. Nope. I would think it would be under the view, but it's not. But either way, let's see what we got. We got good afternoon. It's Luke from wet London. It's also wet here, believe it or not. We have had quite a bit of rain. Everything outside is wet. So maybe it's just a we're brothers in our wetness. And Sean is saying, "Hey Luke, viewing some Doc Martens as I watch Derek simultaneously. Greetings from the U.S." And then Luke says, "Doc Martin, quite witty. Hope you enjoy it." Beer mug. Okay. And then Sean says, "Absolutely." Okay, so you guys are keeping each other company. Okay, I like that. Can I increase the size of this? Okay, we got chat templates. Which one am I using? I'm using the clean one. Let me click on Edge and see what it looks like. Okay, that just gives me a line underneath it. Okay, that's not necessary. I think I just closed my widget. I need a new one. I want one that pops up automatically and not one that I've got to click on. I don't know. I'm just lazy like that, I suppose. Okay, there is one that's a... Apparently everything I've got clicked is clean. It didn't save. But let's try this dark. I'm curious what it looks like. And Luke says, so strange seeing emoji chats spelled out. I know, right? You would think that it would actually just put the emoji out there. In YouTube, it shows the emoji, the beer mug, and the blast and stuff like that. But here it says it doesn't do it. It just spells it out for you. Oh, it doesn't even spell it out. It's like it deleted it. Okay. I don't think I like the dark. What do you guys think? You guys like the dark like that? No, I think the one with the line was actually probably the best. The one that says edge. Like that. I think that one was the best one. I'm watching on YouTube. Is there another platform you stream to? John, no. I have tried Twitch. I tried Rumble. None of them are as good, to me anyway, as YouTube. YouTube is so much easier and it does everything that I want it to do. Okay, so the bases of these guys are clean. Now, let me pull the X-Acto and let me, because when I was cleaning the bases, I was noticing there was quite a bit of, what do they call them? Snakes. Little bitty strings. Everything except this guy. This guy looks good. Okay. It's mostly the tips of the bayonets. And the sword on his hip. Oh, like this guy, he's got a huge string. Or snake, depending on who you ask. These are all Blue Moon miniatures. I was doing some research. Okay, this guy's got some flash between the hand and the body. There we go. He's good to go. Yeah, I was doing some research last night. I was excited to maybe pick up some more Blue Moon for the store and myself. So I did a little Google search, and I could be wrong, but this is what I learned. Okay, that's not the, okay. Yeah, that's not his coattail. That was Flash. Okay. Blue Moon had its own website. It was called Blue Moon Manufacturing. There is other Blue Moons out there, like Blue Moon Winery and stuff like that. I had to kind of parse through all those. But I found Blue Moon Manufacturing, which was the miniature manufacturer. And their website is down, right? Permanently, I suppose. It's no longer a URL. It came up and it said, this website's no longer in existence. And I saw something on a miniature wiki that these all came from the Google search. I might put it in Chat GPT and see what he has to say. But I put it into the wiki, or I didn't put it in the wiki. I saw it on the wiki that Blue Moon was purchased by Old Glory Miniatures. Not 19th century miniatures. They're the ones that produce classic Old Glory 15s, right? And that is some people will call them Old Glory or original Old Glory or whatever you want to call them. And Blue Moon is actually filling the role of Old Glory for the new Old Glory. Because remember, Old Glory split a bunch of years ago. They split. One company took half the molds, and another company took the other half of the molds. And Old Glory Miniatures, their name to fame is the large scale figures, like 25s, 28s. And they've got like a second edition Old Glory and stuff like that. But 19th century miniatures, which used to be battle honors, or battle honors used to fall under 19th century, they kept the 15 millimeter line. When it comes to historicals, or I should say most of their line, because Old Glory Miniatures also sells Command Decision miniatures, which is the Old Glory 15 World War II line. So they do have 15s. But then when they acquired Blue Moon, they did that to fill a niche in their product line, because they didn't really have any 15 millimeter stuff. But once they picked up Blue Moon, now they have 15 millimeters. So you can pick up Blue Moon from Old Glory Miniatures and I'm sure there's companies out there that have classic Blue Moon, like maybe Brookhurst or Noble Knight or somebody. But new Blue Moon is under the Old Glory Miniatures line. So I went and I noticed they didn't have a very extensive list. It's very limited. Blue Moon make a good product. I think they're one of the best 15 millimeter miniatures. But there's just not enough. Like, they don't have any Nassau, no Belgians, you know, no Brunswickers. The French cavalry, they have like no guard cavalry, only, and they only have like cuirassier, dragoons, hussars, and chasseurs. Oh, and lancers, but none of those are guard lancers. They all have helmets. They're line lancers. I thought I would buy some like Polish lancers or Dutch lancers. Mamelukes or something, but they don't have anything like that. Now, they might have used to back in the old days, back in the olden times, but they don't, not through not through Old Glory Miniatures. And don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. This was just based on about 30 minutes of research last night. But I like the quantity that you get in their bags, but I also don't. Anyone doing a Napoleonic force of any kind needs a lot of figures, right? You need hundreds of figures. Realistically, thousands. But if I'm just building one battalion of, let's say, French line, you can't. You have to buy a command pack which comes with about 10 miniatures in 2 different commands, which is perfectly fine if you're making 2 units. And then you buy a center company pack, and that comes with 30 miniatures, but they're all center company. And then if you wanted to buy the elite companies, like Voltigeurs or Grenadiers or something like that, you have to buy another pack for that. But luckily, those come in less numbers. If I remember right, I think it was 8. I could be wrong. Might be 10 or something like that. But it's not 30. But either way, if you're trying to do a French battalion, you got to buy 3 packs, and then you'd have a ton of extra figures. If you're trying to do 2 battalions, and you bought 3 packs, you would have pretty much the perfect amount to do 2 battalions. So I was going through their list, and I was like, oh, I'll just get one of these and a couple of these and blah, blah, blah. And then I decided, nope, not going to do it. I canceled my order. Not because I didn't want it. It was just my, I only did it a couple hours ago, right? And I found myself, I didn't actually place the order, but I found myself overindulging, right? I had like, oh, I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to grab some of this and some of that, and I'm going to reorder some of my West Wind figures, and I'll get them all squared away. The Berliner Bust World War II guys, I figured I'd reorder all that. And then my order turned out to be astronomical, and I was like, whoa, okay, let's back up. I don't need these Iron Brigade guys from the American War of Independence, or Civil War, I'm sorry. Or I don't need these guys, and I started stepping back, saying, okay, I realized I was just over ordering. And then I just caught my breath, and I said, let me just delete everything, and then I'll go in later and just really scrutinize my order so I don't have this astronomical order that I put in. Oh man, I was doing too much. Okay, now I'm planning on mounting these guys, which I won't need anything like that again. Okay. Let me find my clippers. Not these. These. Before I start snipping my American Civil War, let's see if I've got any chats going. Nerd face. Okay, interesting. Last chat by Luke says, Blue Moon are lovely minis, but over here they're now really only sold at conventions, as the postage is ridiculous when we have good companies here. I can imagine. Yeah, I order a lot of stuff from the UK. I don't know what it is about the UK, right? But they are probably the best miniatures companies all exist in the UK. You guys are full of wargaming companies. I don't get it. Why can't the US have a good miniature company? But you guys are a bunch of what I call lead heads. Do you remember that cartoon? There was a leadhead cartoon. You have to be old enough to remember that. It was about miniature wargamers. Oh, Alex is out there mowing the lawn. The grass is all wet. But that's all right. We've got a riding lawnmower. He can just cruise around the grass. And the grass will be all, will like stick, so it won't go flying everywhere. So I hope these Confederates are going to be easier to paint than the Union, but I doubt it. They're probably exactly the same. They are the exact same miniatures. It's just the color palette. With the Confederates, I have a little bit more leeway to mix and match colors. Like the butternut browns and the grays. Okay. How many? Okay, let's try it this way. Yeah, I'm basically going to randomize them. I've thought about this. I said I'm going to do like the majority of them are going to be gray. Have gray, mostly gray, either pants or jackets. But there's going to be quite a bit of butternut distributed in and amongst the units. And like this guy's musket is all bent out of shape. I have no control over that. It might have came like that from the manufacturer. Or it might have came like that when the owner took everything out of the box. Because I didn't get the whole box. I only got the figures and the flags. I didn't get the rule book, or I don't know what else is in the box. I don't play Epic. For various reasons. I probably have gone over it in length for you guys. Is it hard to mow?
I just needed to get that like side bit done.
Oh, okay.
I
If you
don't have
get,
to keep walking through all that grass. Like every day I'm off, it's always raining.
yeah, because it's wet out there.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've got 2 driveways. The garage sits behind the house. We got, you got like the house here, and then the garage is here. It's not like off to the side or on the side of the house. It's behind the house, parallel to the house. And then there's a driveway that goes out this way, and a driveway that goes like along the side of the house over on this side. And there's like this covered walkway that goes from the back door right there to the side garage door, right? So we've got this little, but between the garage and the house on the back there, that's all grass, right? And if you want to go to this other driveway, you got to walk through the grass to get to this other driveway. Like within I don't remember, but like when we moved in, we converted half of that grass area into a garden. And then actually, that's not true. The first thing we did was put in a walkway of stones, like a stone, and like every foot or so, there's a stone. So it's like a stone here, stone, all the way to the other driveway. So you could walk without stepping on the grass. And then sometime later, my wife did put in a garden, and so now half of that area is grass with a little bit of a walkway. But like he was saying, when it starts getting high, it grows over those stones and got to be cut. Okay, now I'm doing 1st and 2nd Battalion of the 1st Regiment, right? Prussians. The uniforms of the 1st and 2nd Battalions are exactly the same. So it doesn't matter how they're placed on these sticks. Because they're all the same. So if I put 2 officers or 2 drummers or whatever together, that'll be just fine. Okay, where are you, you bitch? Move this out of the way so I can wheel my ass over here a little bit and look at my tools. There you are. My needle nose. Aha. That looks way better. Let's see what we got. Oh, see, perfect. Now this is double-sided, 3M double-sided tape. It comes in various thicknesses, widths, right? This is actually the 20 millimeter or 3/4 inch width 3M tape. But what it is, what it is, wait. This right here is not the 3/4 inch. This is I don't know, half inch. I think this is a half inch. But and I'm not going to use it for this. But the 3/4 inch, what I do is, which is 20 millimeters, which is about, is exactly 2 of these squares. What I do is I lay out a, you'll see because I'm about to do the exact same thing for these guys. I lay a strip out on this table, and I cut it in half. That's the first thing I do is I cut it in half. And that'll give me a 10 millimeter strip. And then I go down and I cut 10 millimeter squares. So what I wind up getting on these sticks are 10 millimeter squares. And that's perfect, the perfect size for most 15 millimeter miniatures. And this is 2 standard bearers, 2 officers, 2 drummers. And every one of these sticks that I'm using today, I didn't actually make today. I made these weeks ago when I was painting some 15 millimeter miniatures. I made a bunch of sticks and I made a few too many. Perfectly fine, because I can always use them on future projects. Okay, so he's an NCO. Now, where is the other NCO? I mean, there's a bunch of different poses. Most of these guys are marching. Marching, marching, marching. But he's obviously an NCO because he's pointing. But I don't see anybody else pointing. Now, this guy is carrying his musket in the opposite hand as everyone else. That's why I think he's the officer or the NCO. After I have lunch, I plan to play a little bit of Star Citizen. I'm going to play Star Citizen in the middle of the afternoon. Just kind of a rare thing for me. I was thinking that I was going to play some Star Citizen, take a break, maybe do a little painting, and then come back and play some Skyrim. But I was contacted by the new player, and he said that he would love to make his character tonight. So that's what we're going to do. which there's no preparation needed for that on my part. Hey,
Bought a roaster for $3. Hey, I think it's a little wet to be cutting grass. Huh?
I just wanted to cut that side bit.
Yeah, it was getting hot. It's something. Found that at Kroger's for less than $2. Put that roaster in the garage.
that's cool. Okay, somehow my math is not mathing. I had a feeling it wasn't going to math properly. So, 2 bases of 8 figures is 16 models. Okay, it's 16, not 18. There's the math. Okay, so I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to make one. And because I got this one accessible, I'll just put 2 on that base. So 16 times 2 is 32, right? I knew that, because that's what he said. He said he's sending me 32 miniatures. So if this is the 2, this has got to be the 30. 5 times 6, yep, that's 30. 32 miniatures. Sounds good. Let's put this away. Okay. Okay. Now for these guys, there's 2 already. I've already put these 2 on a stick. So that means there's 9 more sticks that need to be done. And I don't really know how long. One, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll leave it like that. And then I'm going to cut this in half. Yeah, I think I just tore this one up. Yep, that one's tore up. That's one downside about sticking it on here to cut it. You got to peel it up, and sometimes it really sticks. What the heck? What I might start doing is sticking it down on some wax paper or something. I might experiment with that. Yep, that was torn up. Wow. These are like I've never had this big of a problem before. Ever. Ever, ever. Literally. You're embarrassing me in front of the wizard. Yep, that's tore up already. That's tore up. That's all right. We'll do the rest here in just a moment. I just want to make sure these guys are all clean before I start sticking them down. And the only places that I really need to concern myself with is the end, the guy on the end and his shoulder. Because that's what was connected to the sprue. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, my clipper didn't even get close to that guy. We got it fixed. You probably wouldn't even notice unless you're zoomed in with the macro camera. Yeah, that guy's special. He's got a broken musket. Probably put a little glue on him. Let that musket dry. It's in the middle of the formation, which is weird. You would think the guy on the far end would be the one to break, not the guy in the middle. And there's something weird about these Epic ACW. Did they not use bayonets? I'm not an American Civil War fan or historian. I don't really know anything there. I don't really know anything about the Civil War. The American Civil War. I know more about Napoleonics, European battles, than I know about American Civil War battles. I know that technology for killing was developing at a very rapid rate during the Civil War, and the tactics couldn't keep up, or they didn't even try to keep up. They still fought in lines, even though there was machine guns. We'll call them Gatling guns. Okay, let's put that off to the side because there's only one on it. Now on these, I made the strips very thin but longer so that I could attach a strip of men, and the 3M double-sided tape is thick enough that it will still grip even though there's like a little pin on the bottom of these miniatures. Yeah, I did an experiment. That's what that first one was. Oh yeah. I did an experiment the first time I painted these for this customer, trying to determine if the 3M tape was thick enough to make it so that I could do what I'm doing right here. And it was. I was very happy. For many years, I would use popsicle sticks like this, but instead of any kind of 3M tape or anything like that, I used to use a drop of Elmer's. I'd go bloop, 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 and then I'd put the figures on just like this, but into drops of white glue. And then when the glue dried, then I'd go out there and prime them and paint them and all that stuff. And then once they were done, I would pop them off the popsicle stick, pop them out of the glue or whatever, and then I saw a guy online. This is, I don't know, not long ago, 5 years ago maybe. I saw a guy online say that he would use 3M tape like this on the tops of a medicine bottle, right? And then he would have each individual figure, like a large figure, like a Warhammer 40K figure or something like that, one at a time on these medicine bottles and taped on with tape so that he could hold the medicine bottle while painting and he could spin it around and he wouldn't actually hold the miniature. And then he said that when he was done painting, he'd pop the figure off and the tape would still be good and he can put another figure on there. And he said he could use it 2 or 3 times. And I was super excited. I was like, oh, I want to see if I could do that with, like, my popsicle sticks. Because I'm not going to individually mount those and hold them up and, no. Okay. 1, 2, 3 sticks. There's 2. Ah, good. I have a 3rd stick. Okay, so I don't want to waste anything. All right, this is very good. Now I think I'm going to prime these guys gray, spray primer, and then once that spray primer is dry, which is not going to be on this video, then I will go in and brush a gray primer on. Did I peel it all off? Oh, okay, I did. Okay, I just tried to peel it off, and I was like, damn, that's on there already, and I just barely even... because I wanted to scoot it down, and it wouldn't even budge. Because, see, this is like, you can pick up by the figure, and nothing's coming off. Same thing with the metals. This guy... yeah, I can squeeze him on here, and then I can glue it once he's pressed. Yeah, this glue is coming to the end of its life. I probably got this much glue left. And it's getting very thick where it doesn't pour like it used to. Right? So... okay, just giving it an opportunity to move. Okay. Now, these guys, I don't think I'm going to prime them gray. Well, maybe I am going to prime them gray. You know what? I probably will, because a lot of their color is going to be gray as well. I was thinking I was going to prime them brown, but I think I think I can prime them gray and then use the gray brush as well. Because see, this gray brush, you can look at it. It's very light. It allows brushed on colors to be very close to what they're supposed to be. It doesn't darken them up. But I am going to put a wash on these so it will darken everything up. Yeah, I think this is the last of this glue. I think after I glue this one figure, I think I'm going to toss it. I've got two other bottles. One's about the same as this one. And then one is like brand new. Yeah, I'm still getting air. Come on now. I've got that super glue smell. Okay, there we go. I got a little bit of a air bubbly. Oh, there it is. It's on the end. I got some pre-cum. Yep, that's going trash, trash. Okay. Get my fingers all worked up. Here we go. Okay. Once that dries and I paint it up, you'll never even know there was a busted musket. All right, let me take this off. These guys are all ready to be primed. I'll be taking them outside here and priming them once I feel that that super glue is dried sufficiently. Okay, Luke says, wait a second, there's a million chats I must have missed. Okay. You're in your 50s, but don't remember that programming. Okay, what did I say? Because I said something. Oh, Leadhead. No, it's not a program. It was a cartoon in print. It was in, I think it was in Dragon Magazine. It might have been Wargames Illustrated or one of those old magazines. It's called Leadheads. And it was basically miniature wargamers. It was a comic strip about them. And then Sean says, I remember a local radio station saying it's time to get some lead for the head. Led Zeppelin. No, that's not it. I do like those Epic ACW, but I found I've had about 10 muskets like that. Oh, okay, where it was just busted? Well, that's okay. Luckily, it didn't break off, and it was still partially attached. And all I had to do was put a piece of glue on there and just bend it back up into position. So that's good. And then what do we got here? I found some companies send in extras almost as if they know there's going to be errors. That's true. That's true. I've had a few Old Glory bags that are advertised, which is okay. I think 19th Century Miniature needs to update their website. Which they did just recently, last year. They updated it, but the text, they brought it directly over. It says approximately 50 figures, but it's always 48 figures, which is perfect for me because all my units are 24 figures. So it's 2 battalions in a bag, which is perfect, but it does say approximately 50 in the text. But I've had a few that actually had like 49. But I think that's just a miscount. I don't think that they did it on purpose. Speaking of Old Glory, one of the Old Glory reps watches my live streams quite a bit. Watches. I'm not going to say who he is, or he might not even be in the stream right now, but he watches quite a bit. And one day I was complaining about how the American War of Independence British bags had like 24 figures in there, which is perfect, but it had only one standard bearer. And I complained on the stream that there should be 2 standard bearers because of the way they carry their colors and everything. And I ordered some figures from them the following month or whatever it was, and in my packaging there was a bag of probably 50 British standard bearers. I was like, okay, that's going to take care of me for all my units. Perfect. So they responded to that little complaint. Just checking. Joseph, hey, how are you doing, Joseph, man? Just checking in. Good to see you're starting my Prussians. Yeah, these are your Prussians. They I'm going to prime them today, but I'm probably not going to go any further. I did get a bunch of colors out that I plan to use on them. This is the Prussian lineup right here. I need to get out a few more for these guys. I was hoping I could probably do some of it concurrently, but my focus is the Prussians. So I'm going to get these knocked out in less than a week, probably, to be honest. Hopefully I'll get these guys in less than a week as well, but we'll see. And then we got Luke saying, hey, you saying about tactics not keeping up with technology in American Civil War. Look at the tactics in World War World War One. They really didn't know what to do. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were still they adopted trench warfare. Not always. There was fire and maneuver in World War One. There was quite a bit of firing and maneuvering, but there's also the whole no man's land and the two trench lines and everything. That's the trope. That's like the when you think World War One, what do you think of? You think of trench lines. But they had machine guns and uh, airplanes. You know, they had tanks. You know, that was all brand new stuff too. I'm not a big World War One historian either, um, but I do know more about World War One than I do about American Civil War. Mainly because I've always been interested in biplanes. The whole Red Baron and the you know uh, the Eindecker up, the Fokkers and the Sopwith Camel and all those guys. I've that's always been a fascination of mine. And whenever I play IL-2, which um, I haven't played in a while because I've been playing a lot of Skyrim, but when I do play IL-2, I have it. Sometimes I'll play World War II, but more often I will play World War One dogfighting. Because that's one of my favorite. No, let me rephrase that. That is my favorite air simulation game is IL-2. Um, Even more than DCS. I played DCS for I don't know, a month. I kind of really got tired of it. Um, but IL-2, I didn't get tired of it. Now I understand that IL-2 has a new mod out. Not a mod. It's like a new version, I should say, or a new what do they call it? A new game, I guess you could call it. But it's not really. It's just an add-on to your current game. It's the third module for Flying Circus because I have the first one and the second one, and I was really into it for a while, and I was complaining about I prefer the early war planes when it was really a struggle, like the Eindecker or the DH-2, the pusher plane, or the Newport 11 and then Newport 17, Sopwith Pup, Sopwith 1.5 Strutter, the early war stuff. The Albatross D2 and the Halberstadt, I guess, early Halberstadt. I don't know what it is. D2 maybe? Um, and the Flying Circus 1 and 2 were all like late war planes. And it's still fun. Don't get me wrong. It's still like super fun. But the problem is, it's not a problem. It's just a complaint of mine. Is I really wish they had early war, and then I could do a campaign. I could have a pilot. I could generate a pilot, and he could be in the early war, and then work his way up through into the late war. I never last that long. Give me about 2 months in the air, and I'll be shot down, and usually I'll be killed. So I usually don't make it that far, but I would like to try. And with this third version, they did start releasing a bunch of early war planes. Did I go out and get the third version? Not yet, but I do plan to get it. Um, yeah. I don't know what Biggles' book is. I don't know what that is. Expansion? It might be an expansion. I don't know how you would describe it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm actually going to go look right now. I'm going to hit the center display. See if that comes up. Okay, it sort of does. It's good enough. I'm going to make an adjustment here. I'm doing this off camera, getting me logged in. Okay, so this is go to the store. Flying Circus. Oh, they got volume 4 out. Oh my gosh, I am so far behind. I haven't played in like 3 or 4 months, and I can't believe they've. Yeah, this is the last one I thought they released. Yeah, because like when you go down here, you're looking at Albatross D5, the Fokker DR1, the Fokker D7, Soft with Camel. That's all like late war stuff, right? And then Flying Circus 2 came out, Volume 2, and you still got a triplane Newport 28. SPAD 7, you started to get into the early war, but not really. This is all still pretty late war stuff. And then this is when I was looking at. You're looking at the D2 Halberstadt Albatross, Newport 11, 17, yeah, the RE8, FE2B, Hanroy D1. Okay, that's really not that impressive, right? But when I look at this 4, what do we got here? Blah, 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 blah. I see the word Eindecker and it's getting me excited. Okay, 7. Okay, the Airco DH2, that's a pusher, and that's what's on the cover. Right? Okay, okay. Yeah, that's the Airco DH2 right there, and there it looks like an Eindecker over there. But rolling the Albatross D3, which they didn't have before. Stop with pup, half strutter. Okay, so it looks like 4 is the one I need. 7 legendary aircraft. Well, I need both of them, really. You know, it's just what it is. I gotta get both. Mission editor support. Wait. Well, I would hope so. That's, yeah. Pilot career mode has been kind of a, it took a while to get that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm fanboying. Did I just turn that off? Love that sound. Palmer Core Aero Type, whatever. I can't read that. Got your radiator up here. That's weird. Okay. Well, I didn't stop it soon enough. See these cables? How they're jerking like that? Look at that. They're vibrating. I'm also pausing the video because of copyright and all that jazz. Ooh, ooh, soft with pup. Not only are the aircraft models like super detailed, but I just love. And I'm a stickler for this. This not a stickler. I guess I don't know what you call it when it's something that you really like in a game that really makes or breaks your enjoyment. Well, the one thing that makes and breaks my enjoyment in a flight sim is the world, the planetary surface, the earth, the trees, the rivers, the roads, the buildings. The Roland. Man, we used to play a board game called Blue Max, and we played with 1/72nd scale model planes. We constructed, mostly me, constructed these. I took a I took a sewer pipe, not a sewer pipe. I guess it's just a pipe fitting on the bottom, and I screwed in a PVC cap. So the pipe fitting and the sewer, I keep saying sewer, but the PVC cap was plastic. And then I drilled a hole in the PVC and put a car antenna in there, and each length of the antenna was a different altitude level in the game. And we moved our planes around this hex map with these antennas, and they had little clips on them that clipped on the bottom of our airplanes. And yeah, it was fun. So you got a train over here. I don't know why he's shooting over there. Just dropped some bombs. Yeah, and I never understood why the D5 came out in the game before the D3, but I guess they just had that model ready to go. There's a B model. Okay, I don't know what that is. He just did an Immelman. And then crashed. That was cool. Yeah, those are the early war planes that I love flying. I don't know if I love flying them in the game, but I'm definitely going to get those. All right, guys. Well, that's where we're calling it for the night. I do have another. I'm going to be playing some Star Citizen probably around 1 o'clock. So if you guys want to come back and watch me play some Star Citizen, that would be great. I'll be glad to have you guys join me on my adventures. I don't know how long I'm going to play or what I'm going to do when I'm in the game, but I am going to play a little bit. I'm probably going to try to get some credits. Today is the last day of the free fly. So anybody wanting to fly free can do that. Today's the last day. But also the Invictus celebration, today's the last day. So I want to just go over there and see what's going on with that. Probably nothing. Which also probably means my FPS is going to be trash. But we'll see if we can work through it. I haven't regularly played in the daytime. I usually play super late at night. But today will be an exception. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. You guys have a great rest of your day.